Hello and welcome to All For United with me, John Foster, MUFC. It was a cracking show last night. It's going to get even better tonight because we're going to talk about European players. So if you're a little bit bored of the WSL players like me and Natalie kind of hinted yesterday, maybe we can learn a little bit more tonight about some European players that you may have heard of or you may not have heard of. So we're going to be talking about Bo Riisa, of course. That's going to be the first topic. We're going to talk about the differences between the leagues as well. So how does like the Danish and Swedish and Norwegian leagues kind of compare in playing styles, etc. And we're also going to talk a little bit about the homegrown talent. And is there any of the new rules? Will they kind of affect any of the teams out there? It doesn't affect United, thankfully. We're okay. We can go for these European players, but maybe the likes of Chelsea may not. So lots of things to get into. Let's do the introductions. Natalie, how are you, mate?
I'm good, John. I'm excited. I think I let my emotions get the better of me yesterday, just because I'm so passionate for it and I want the best from it, and I'm worried about where we're going to go. Not just because of the facilities, but just I think we even said it last night. It was when we have the Champions League, we have the options. We could potentially look at anyone in the world. I think maybe not, but we could look at the big stellar names, the Engen, your Bunny Shaw. That's the name I was thinking of. And now we've not got Champions League. I'm a bit worried, and I hope there's some good players still out there that want to come and join Man United. But for me, I think the names in Emma's article, the names that Emma talked about yesterday, they're good. Manion's a good player, but I just think we can do better. And I think if we branch out a bit and look into even Spanish league, I know if you're at Al, he's Spanish. Mia will know more about other leagues, but I think if we branch, and I do know little tiny bits, so there's names that I do know, but I probably can't say them right. There's people who I want to see and who are interested in coming to this league. So let's get it. Let's take advantage. Let's go full steam ahead. So, guys, drop names in the comment if you know them, and we'll discuss them just as usual. So,
just before we move on to tonight's show, just to kind of summarise. Obviously, we spoke to Emma yesterday. Emma's got a lot of respect around the WSL and her knowledge in the women's game, especially in England. To me, it came across that there's a couple of opportunities out there, but no one really nailed on just yet who's going to be looking at putting across, and certainly no glamour signings. Is that kind of the interpretation that you got as well, Nat? Yeah,
they're not. She mentioned Manion, Bagley. Who else did she mention? Charlotte, but probably not.
Yeah.
But yeah, Bagley looks like she said Bagley's pretty much done, and I don't mind that. I've only got a little issue as to if then Ramsey leaves. There's there's no more young goalkeepers really, and there's talk of other stuff going on with the lower teams. But that's my only concern there. But it is, Bagley, it would be good. Bagley and Earps, okay, I'm happy. But, Manion, I think there's better centre-back in Spain. I mean, Ifa will know there's a girl called Leah Alexandre, and I know we're going off the topic now. We're just dropping names straight away. She plays for Atletico. Atletico aren't in the Champions League. I know she's got one more year in a contract. For me, someone like that would be good. But it's then what Emma said about, well, does a manager like Casey, who knows a lot about the WSL, a lot about the England setup, want to take that risk in central defence? But, I mean, even me and Mia spoke about it. Is it a risk, or is it just you need to know more and branch out your scouts? And I don't know. I mean, I've learned a bit about women's football in different leagues. I know probably Spanish league is my most knowledgeable league, but I'm prepared to learn about every league, German league more, because there's more to the world than just England or just England, Scotland, And I think if you look into Spain, Germany, I even think if you look into Africa, there's going to be massive talent there. There's always talent. And I mean, I know that's probably an untapped talent there. Honor's best mate, yeah. If we can get an Honor at centre-back, that's what we want. Why won't we want that? Absolutely. So for me, yes, Swedish players, Norwegian players are class. Obviously, I know Mia was at that game yesterday. I watched a tiny bit of it. It was 1-0 to Sweden, but it looked tight game. I mean, Engen stood out for me. And I know probably people say, "Oh, she's had better games." Probably she has, but you know, there's talent in that Swedish team, there's talent in that Norway team, and tap into it for me.
Let me introduce Mia, and just in case anybody who doesn't know Mia, because this is the first time that I've spoken to you as well. I do follow you on Twitter. I think you put some great stuff on there. A lot of it usually goes over my head because I don't know some of the things that you speak about, but this is a great way for me to learn as well. So absolutely brilliant. Am I right in saying that you're a journalist, photographer, and a Chelsea supporter? Is that right?
Yeah, if you want to keep it in England, that's fine.
Okay.
You know, I can say I'm a Wolfsburg supporter. I'm a Linköping supporter. Yeah.
Okay.
Say it all. Tell us everything.
So obviously your background, obviously you know quite a bit about European teams. What kind of leagues do you tend to watch?
Yeah, I think, I mean, I want to give you another background story to this because I work with, actually, I'm an educated communication manager as well. I work with a lot with social media. So that's why I started to, dive into different leagues because I wanted to see how they differed in communication. And that was ahead of the Women's World Cup in France, 2019. But I think, I live in Linköping, and I've been a big Linköping supporter since, I think, 2012, something like that. Pernilla Harder was brought in that year to Linköping. But I think the Scandinavian leagues, we all talk about, what's the best league, and then I say, yeah, but every league is the best in something. And the Scandinavian leagues, they are the best in the world to develop young talents.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think any other league can, top that at the moment. Because I'm going to talk a lot about Linköping here, but just so we can understand where I'm coming from. Because 2012, Linköping, I did an interview with Martin Sjögren, who now is the head coach of Norway, but was the head coach in Linköping. He came in 2013, I think. Yeah. So he did not recruit Pernilla Harder. He was already there when he came, but he had a philosophy to bring in a lot of young national team players. Under 23 players, under 19 players. So he brought in Magdalena Eriksson, he brought in Fridolina Rolfö, he brought in Claudia Neto, she was a bit older, I guess. But he also brought in Kristine Minde, who has been a Norwegian national team player. Every single one of these players went to Wolfsburg 4 years later. That says something, I think.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the Women's Super League hasn't been able to catch up yet. Not all teams, because then we have players like Amanda Ilestedt, also a Swedish national team player, defender. She was in Rosengård, and then she went to Potsdam in Frauen-Bundesliga, and now she plays in Bayern. So you see, Frauen-Bundesliga, they know the Scandinavian League.
Okay.
Wolfsburg, they bought Sofie Svava, who is a Danish young national team player from Rosengård, 1 million Swedish crowns around. It's rumored like that. They bought her from Rosengård to Wolfsburg, so she's now a Wolfsburg player, and I think she's 20 years old, and she's a starter for the Danish national team. So they know their business.
So what is it then that these some of the Scandinavian countries and Sweden, what are they doing differently to us or us in England, or what can England do better, do you think, at developing this talent?
I think in Sweden they have already accepted where we are in the food chain. we develop players to bring them to the bigger leagues. And I think this is just a feeling, and I don't want to, I love the Women's Super League and I love what they're doing, but I think it's too much hype.
Okay.
Yeah, it's the best league in the world at communication. I mean,
Okay.
you see, marketing and
Yeah.
TV deals and accessibility and stuff like that. But the football, not
Well,
the best in the world.
I want to bring Nat in on this, because Nat, you've been saying this to me privately, and we have a bit of debate across the Orphan United team. There's quite a few of us that appear on Orphan United, and Natalie's been saying that just because they're not well-known players, it doesn't mean that they're not talented. They're just not well-known. They're just not promoted. Now, I'm not saying that this is the case for every player, but there are a select few out there who can become superstars. Nat, I don't want to steal your thunder. That's basically what you
Yeah, basically. I mean, the names that you just said there, Pernille Harder, Magdalena Eriksson, I don't even know what the other one. I'm sorry, I'm really bad. But you're saying them names, and they're names that I know, and then you're saying, oh, Sweden, they had players and they went and played, and now they're playing in like Bayern and Wolfsburg. And Bayern and Wolfsburg aren't no, how can you say, pushovers, I think Wolfsburg went really far with Chelsea. I think, obviously, Bayern went to the semi-final, so you can't knock them. And then I feel like there is this kind of vibe, I'll say, that, yeah, because it is on telly, because we have the Sky deal, because we have this, because we have journalists 24/7 reporting about it. And even the journalists say, I can't cover it all. But I think, I think even we saw with Barcelona. Barcelona beat Chelsea and people were sort of surprised. Barcelona beat City and people were shocked, and I feel Barcelona are a good team, and that's what Spanish league is the league that I watch the most of. If it was another league, when I say the most, I've only watched a handful of games. It is hard to find, but I can only see Spanish league getting a lot better because they are going professional now, and there might be a TV deal. More people want to watch it. Barcelona are popular, and this is an opinion I put out there on Twitter, and it was sort of shut down. And I said, surely it's better that we see this standard. So surely it's better that City and Chelsea and we get beat by some teams and they make it hard, so that there's not this hype, so that we do see other leagues as just as good in a way. And I agree with what Mia said at the start. Every league is good in its own aspect. And for me, this is why I want to, if we're on here, but Mia on here, I want to pick her brains, because we can pick up a Manian, or we can pick up this one. It's 25. They used to play in. They're not going to do anything different. And I think what I've seen in our team, our development, I've only just started watching in 2018, so I bow down to anyone. But I've watched a lot, and I've watched a lot of either WSL or Championship. And, what I'm seeing from us in our development is that we need something different. We need a spark. That's what Vicky said last night. And for me, LJ was a bit of the spark, but LJ might go now. So for me, where are you going to get that other player from? And for me, Honor was that player who came in and no one expected anything of her. People thought, well, I've never heard of her. She's not going to be any good. And then she won Player of the Year. Jackie, another player that was sort of talked down. Not talked down. I think she did start off, and it was tough for her. But now she's like our best player. If we lost Jackie and we lost Honor, we'd be, that would make me send shockwaves through the whole fan base. So for me, I think you need a bit of a mix. So we've got our core English kind of players, but I think we need to add in something different, because when I watch United, sometimes I struggle to break people down, and I think if there was a different player there with a different style, they could do it. And I just think, I'm not saying that player isn't in English, but I don't know. Unless you're going to get Frank Kirby, which we're not, we have to go and look somewhere else. We have to, and if players are good enough from the Swedish league to go to Wolfsburg and Bayern, why are they not good enough to come to Man United? This is what I don't understand. Vix is saying attitude, arrogance, best league, but only one seat. But this is what we've watched in the Premier League, and this is what I've watched. It's coming home. It's coming home. Yeah, it's great. Everyone's having a laugh about it. But are England really going to win the Euros? Probably not. Are England women going to win the Euros? Probably not. You need to just be a bit sensible about it. And I mean, I know I go on, Man United, we're going to do this and that. course, because we're fans, we get excited. But it's when people speak about it, really, like they're going to do this. And I did really think we were going to win the league, but we got exposed. We don't, and and I think I love Casey to death, but I think even some of her tactics, and that's why I said last night we need a different manager maybe from somewhere else. And if she doesn't want to bring in the talent from Sweden, Norway, then maybe someone else will go and bring it in. For me, it's time to bring in, like I said, if it's good enough for Wolfsburg, why is it not good enough for us?
I want to kind of just bring that in a little bit there because you just mentioned Casey. I just want to, before we start listing off a load of names,
sorry.
Not a load of names, I just want to just ask me a little bit about the style of play. So for anyone who hasn't seen any Swedish football or Norwegian, Denmark, German, or anything away from England, what's their style of play like? And also, do you think that the WSL would benefit from more foreign managers coming in to kind of teach us this way of playing? So just sort of picking your brains there a little bit.
Yeah. Also, two perspectives in this, because the second perspective I'm going to talk about, I haven't thought about myself because I interviewed the head coach for the Swedish national team a couple of weeks ago, and then we talked about this. In Sweden, the defenders, they defend as a team. Mm-hmm. They defend spaces, and why they do that, if it's sort of a style of play, culture, the Swedish national team is well known for being one of the best national teams in the world to defend. But then again, we play on artificial grass in Sweden, so that could be a reason for this. But if we'll take, I'll take two players now to, explain this. Magdalena Eriksson, and then we have Amanda Ilestedt. If you look at Magdalena Eriksson, she's a good defender because she's very good at reading the game. Her perspective of the game is very good. I might dare to say that she's one of the best in the world in that. It's like she can read the game before it happens, and that helps her because she's not that good in defending one-on-one or one versus one or tackles. And tackles you can discuss, like if you have to tackle, make a tackle. Does that make you a good defender? But if you have to tackle because you haven't defended that well before, you have to succeed in the tackle, and that's two areas she's not the best in. And then you take a player like Amanda Ilestedt, who went from Sweden to Germany. In Germany, it's a very, very different style of play from Sweden. Because in Germany you don't defend in zones, and you're on your own. Like you take this player out and I take this player, and then we go. So her quality in one versus one and tackles are better than Magdalena Eriksson's, because Amanda Ilestedt she has been playing like, I think it's 4 or 5 years in Germany now, 2 teams. So that's the kind of, what differs the playing style in these 2 leagues. And I remember I sat kind of laughing when Chelsea played Wolfsburg in the Champions League, because Chelsea fans were like, "Oh, they play so nasty." Alexandra Poppe is like, and I was like, well, watch a game between Bayern and Wolfsburg, and then you will understand, because this is. If you say that the Frauen Bundesliga is less physical than the Women's Super League, that's not true.
Okay.
So these are the kind of playing style that, like a player coming from Sweden into Women's Super League now or Frauen Bundesliga needs to learn how to, not defend in spaces, rather to go like, this is your player to mark, this is your player to take out, or so I think that's the biggest difference.
So on that, Nat, we've looked quite weak at the back at times for the last couple of seasons. Some defensive errors, some individual errors, some lack of organisation. But I just listened to what Mia says there, a small snapshot. Maybe if a European coach did come across, they would kind of make us like set up a little bit differently, whether that be off free kicks or open play, and help maybe make us a little bit like kind of stronger that way. Is that kind of what you're thinking there, Nat, or are you thinking something a bit different?
Yeah, I just think.
Or is it too defensive? Should we just think like just attack like?
Yeah, I think it needs to just change our style of play a bit. I think definitely with our free kicks, with our set plays, we concede too many. I don't think we set up right. And I'm not saying I'm an expert, but we've had a lot of people either scoring from the wing, crossing it in, or like I said, a corner. I mean, the corners that I'm remembering, a lot of Ruben Moy heading it in, and then obviously Danielle Carter. And I don't know how. I'm not a tactician. I think they defend. I don't even know if they defend zones, Man United, but there's definitely something. Yeah, something needs to be improved in that respect. So hopefully, maybe a new coach. I don't know where they come. I mean, Emma yesterday mentioned the ex-German manager. I don't know if you know her, Mia. I can't remember her name. I can't even remember her name. She won it in like 2016. I think she's been retired for a while, but that's just someone that she'd like to see. So. I'd like to know as well, though. I don't know if we're going on to this, John, but names that like Mia thinks could improve Man United, or is there any players that she's looking at now in the Swedish team or Swedish league? Not even Swedish, even in France Bundesliga. Someone told me last night, and then Matt's just told me now. Nicola Biller. I don't know if you know much about her, but I think she's a forward. I'm guessing.
Striker.
What strike? Well, that's what we need. That's what we're crying out for. Forwards. Do you think she's someone that could be on the move, or do you think no, not at all to Man United? Or who do you see that person would be good?
Yeah, it's funny you mention her because Nicole Billa, she has been number 2 top scorer in the Frauen Bundesliga behind Pernille Harder a couple of years now. And this year, when Pernille Harder is not there, guess who's the top scorer?
She is. No.
Yeah, she is. I'm not saying Pernille Harder has been winning the Golden Boot in Frauen Bundesliga every year, because she hasn't. But Nicole Billa has been, right behind the top scorers in that league for a couple of years. So that's an interesting name. But like the rumors flying around in Sweden right now that Nathalie Björn and Hanna Bennison, they both play in Rosengård at the moment. Nathalie Björn, she's a very flexible player. In the Swedish national team, she has been used as a midfielder, defensive midfielder, but in the club Rosengård, she's playing center back. So I'm kind of confident she will go to the Olympics because of her. She can be used in a lot of positions. And then we have a player like Hanna Bennison. When she played versus Norway last night, you can really, if you watch that game, you can really see her qualities. I read somewhere on Twitter that some compared her to Jackie Kronen, but I think what differs her from Jackie is like her first touch of the ball. If she gets it, she just turns very quickly, and then it's an attack. She can receive the ball with her back towards the goal and then just turn to make something happen. And she's graduating from high school today, I think. So, and these two players have been in Rosengård, and it was rumored about Everton. And then I was like thinking, because I was in a clubhouse talk this Tuesday this week. Then we talked about this, and then some Swedish journalist says that they're gonna go down if they choose Everton, because they play in the top team in Sweden, but the top team in Sweden can't compete with Bayern Munich, for example. Now we saw that, and then I think that Everton would be a perfect match for these players. Also, then I think Manchester United would be a perfect match for them, because the top three, maybe Arsenal now with what's going on there, but Manchester City and Chelsea, they would not be starting in the starting 11s.
So just to kind of gauge the level for anyone who doesn't really watch that Swedish football, it's kind of interesting to know that Mia thinks at the top of the league pretty much is kind of similar to 4th or 5th place in the WSL. Is that pretty much what you're saying, like the levels?
No, I'm not talking about levels. I'm talking about teams like Manchester United that want to reach level Champions League. These players would help them to get quality up.
I think so. I know that they've both been linked to Everton, and Willie Kirk says he's got 7 players done. But then I saw recently an interview from Hannah. It was Hannah who says, I'd like to play for Barca, but I don't think Barca yet. But she did say it's Everton, but I've not heard a lot. And this made me think, if you were set on Everton, you would be saying, she said, I've also got an offer from another English team and a German team. So let's see. And now you're saying that her level is Manchester United. And the way I know Manchester United, I mean, they do not say, so whoever the other English team, it might be Manchester United. I'm not saying it's definitely. I'm just saying it's likely, because she said Everton's name, but she didn't say the other team. And I don't know, it could be Spurs, but I don't know. Maybe if it was Man United, she'd say it more freely. But, I mean, that defender that you mentioned then, wasn't Natalie
Björn.
Yeah, do you think that she would be... I mean, we have at the minute Torres Doherty, Amy Turner, Millie Turner. Do you think then she would be there and boost that and make them better?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Sweden played a 3-4-3 yesterday. No, 3-5-3. And then she played in the middle, in the back line, with Magdalena Eriksson at the left and Amanda Ilestedt at the right. She's like a pure center back, because she can defend. If you want to watch her, then that game is quite, I think it suited her very well.
I don't know if you mentioned this, sorry if I missed it, but is she under contract, or how long? Do you know how long the contract's there for? Or
her contract is only this season.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and she's already announced to the press in Sweden that she will leave this. She was kind of straight in that. And Hanna Bennison, her contract is up next summer. But then, if they're gonna make money of her, I mean, she was awarded goals, most talented youngster of the year. So I think and then you have Sofie Svava here now as well. Then Wolfsburg paid 1 million Swedish crowns around that. It's rumored, but she was 19. Okay. And then you have Hanna Bennison. She's 18 now, turning 19. So I'm saying Wolfsburg know what they're doing. They have been in this position a lot of years. They brought Pernilla Harder from, Sweden, from Linköping, when she was doing really well in Sweden. And then they brought her in. And then they recruited Fridolina Rolfö as well, because Fridolina Rolfö went to Bayern first. But there was 4 or 5 players in the same team in Linköping after winning the league that went to Wolfsburg and Bayern.
Okay.
None to England, because Jonna Andersson and Magdalena Eriksson, they went to Chelsea 2017 after the Euros, but then Chelsea wasn't like a big team. Like Magdalena Eriksson have been saying, it was a risk to go to Chelsea. I mean, she had a safe spot in the starting 11 in Linköping, but she wasn't safe going to Chelsea.
Well, that's what it sort of is now with Man United. I find people are sort of saying not a risk to go Man United because Manchester United is known all around the world, but it's a risk in where we are. Obviously we are going to get a manager, whoever that may be, but we're not in the Champions League. We're not a top European club, and anyone who's coming in, it's to sort of build us to that club, to make us win trophies. And I know you've just said that Natalie, Bjorn, and Hannah. And I know you say about Hannah being maybe a bit different from Jackie, but it's that midfield. And obviously we have Tooney, and I like to see a lot more of Ella Toon. As well, I think we need more forward, more attacking. I think we do probably need I mean, what would you... I mean, I know you don't want to compare it, but obviously we're going to lose Lauren James. Would you say if we did lose Lauren and Hannah came in, would she be able to live up to that expectation? Because maybe people might say, oh, we're getting this young Swedish one instead of Lauren. I'm just thinking about what fans might say, if we did get Bennison.
I think Hannah Bennison is how do you say this in English so it doesn't sound bad, but she's a better baller.
Okay. Then Lauren James.
Yeah, but when I say baller, like it's the technique. Lauren James is stronger, and she has a different type of body, and like I say, if you watch the game yesterday, you see Hannah Bennison receive the ball with her back towards the goal and then just turns like this. I mean, Lauren James has another kind of strength. She can go forward.
Yeah, they bounce off Lauren.
Yeah, so
strong.
Two different players. I don't think you can compare them like that.
Okay.
I think that Manchester United would have to play differently with a player like Hannah Bennison.
Okay. The only other one, I think, and I say strong, I just want to get your opinion here. And I know it's not what I asked you before, but Lotta came into us. We love Lotta love. And obviously that's what I think her issue was a bit, Lotta. She didn't get strong enough. Do you think then maybe if Hannah came in or Natalie, they would be strong enough for the WSL? Or do you think, no, it's because Man United probably didn't play to Lotta's strengths?
I think that Natalie Björn is a defender. She would definitely handle the WSL kind of play. And I think it's kind of hard to compare Lotta Öqvist to the defenders in the WSL. Because I mean, look at Pernilla Harder. She's not... I mean, she's like a gazelle, if we're going to talk about her that way. And then you have we can talk about Frida Manum as well then. Norwegian player. Then you have Vilde Börisa, and then you have Frida Manum. I talked to Frida about this because I wrote this article about Vilde Börisa fitting into Manchester United using that transfer lab too. Then I talked to Frida about this because I wanted to get it right. I have access to Frida, so I can talk to her, like regularly. But then I asked her, do you think that, is it like we who watch thinks that you and Vilde competes for the same spot in the national team? And then she said it has been like that, but we are two different players. Because Vilde Börisa, she's a box-to-box midfielder. she's strong. And I'm not saying that Frida is not strong, because she is, but Frida is the gazelle. I mean, I took a picture of her the last game in the Damallsvenskan in Sweden, like where you can see her run, and I was like, this is her legs is so far apart when she runs with the ball. But Vilde Börisa, she's a hard-working midfielder, but also great at through passes and deliver the ball up front.
So if I can jump in there then, so like the impression I got from Twitter, not by watching, just by listening to some of the others, Belle Reese was more of like a defensive kind of midfielder. Is that still the case? Or I don't know if you actually watch Man United women, but we've got like Hayley Ladd as like the more defensive centre midfielder, and then we've got Jackie and Ella Toon that's in front of Hayley Ladd. Where do you think Bo Reese's position would be in the midfield then? If one of those had to be sacrificed to make room for Bo Reese, what kind of position, where would you put her?
Yeah, I did compare her to, your midfielders.
Yeah.
And she wasn't that, how do you say this in English? Like similar to Hayley Ladd. It wasn't her that she would be competing with.
Right, yeah.
It was Katie Sellem.
Mm.
Yeah, and then you have to realize that when you use this tool, Transfer Lab, it only looks at the players' quality actions in the league they have been playing.
Okay.
But if you look at Vilde Börisa then she had better quality in her actions in the same position as Katie Sellem. And what you would gain with a player like Vilde Börisa is her, quality of playing the ball up to attack.
What we need, Nat.
Yeah, that's the difference between these two players. If you just watch them in their different league and actions through this year, that has been. And then I talked to Martin Sjögren about Vilde as well, and then he said, if you're going to compare Vilde Börisa to someone, I think in the future, she's going to be like Caroline Seger in the Swedish national team, the anchor. Because she's that kind of player.
So how do you think the deal's coming along then? Because obviously we've heard about this back in January time, and it went a little bit quiet. It seemed really hyped at the time that it was pretty much done in the winter transfer window. What's your kind of impression where you are about this deal actually going through or not?
I think it's because of the Norwegian COVID-19 rules. Travel. They differ. If you think that Sweden have been handling this a different way than you guys have, then Norway is. Let me just explain. Today they came with new rules, travel rules, and then they say that it doesn't matter if you're vaccinated, you still have to quarantine and leave a test before you go if you're not a Norwegian citizen. So this is what she have been dealing with. And I think that if you add that to what you said, Nat, in the beginning, the knowledge about the Swedish league and how are you going to look at the player to know if they will fit your team. I also been kind of curious about this because then I've been interviewing a lot of football analysts as well. And they say, then it's kind of a shocking deal because if you have an analysis department in a club for a team, you have one opponent analyst, you have one recruitment analyst, you have one scout that look at your own players, and then you might even have another scout that looks at your opponent's individuals. Like which way do they turn their body before they shoot often and stuff like that. And the women's teams, they don't have this. So how are you going to recruit players if you don't have this? You mentioned Premier League. I mean, look at Manchester City. How many English players do Manchester City men have?
Few.
So.
No, I totally am, behind what you're saying. I think, I know I've just cut you up, John, but, we see the Premier League, and I'm not saying I want it to be a mirror image of the Premier League, but I do think it needs to be more. There's so much talent, I just think, and I think we're missing it, and I think, we're going to see Bo Reese, and I think she's going to tear it up, potentially. And I just think we need to go out there and get talent. And I think, I think just sticking in, I mean, Brexit's going to make it harder. This rule, I know John's going to come onto it. Doesn't affect us, but, then it might lead to everyone just buying British players and you lose that kind of the best league in the world tag. You know, how can you be the best league if you've just got your own players there? I just don't think, and I think that's what added excitement to this league this season. There was a load of come in. Sam Kerr came in, Harder came in, but then all the Americans, and they came with different styles and different mentalities. And I think when you have different people, a mix in your dressing room, it makes it better for me, in my opinion.
Just before we move on, sorry, Mia, just before we move on, there was a question on screen, nothing to do with Man United, so we'll just have a quick break. Do you want to just answer that one on screen? Because it is an interesting question for you to answer.
Yeah, I think that Kosovare Asllani, she's playing the best football of her life right now. Watching her yesterday playing for Sweden, I think Real Madrid would be stupid if they don't extend her contract. But then again, they have been using her as a number 9, not as the number 10, where she is mostly used in Sweden. So it's heavily rumored that she will go to Juventus, but something tells me that Real Madrid is gonna come to their senses and just extend her contract. But we'll see. She told yesterday that it's gonna be a deal with some teams. So Sofia Jakobsson, I think she will. If Kosovare Asllani will stay in Real Madrid, she will also stay.
I'd like as Jakobsson at Man United. I know obviously Real Madrid is Champions League, Juventus is Champions League, but you think that's a player that could fit maybe, Mia? I like Jakobsson.
Both of them would be a great fit in Manchester United, and they would add the experience to your team. We're talking about youngsters, unexperienced players, but these two have experience. They know each other very well. You can see that when they play together, because they play together in the club as well now. But they are class. I mean, Sofia Jakobsson was the one that sent Sweden to the World Cup, scoring the winner versus Denmark. But she also scored that goal versus England in the bronze match now in the World Cup.
Everyone scores versus England, don't worry.
Yeah, but they're world-class players, and I have to say that I've never seen Kosovare Asllani play this well ever.
Another striker, but I think she's injured at the minute, but it's one that we've got on the front, and it's one that I've sort of been, well, when I started watching women's football, it was a name that was in my ear that people were saying, this one, and it's Anna Evergard. I know I've said it wrong. And there's links that she was linked to Man City. Man City and Everton, actually. So just skipping out Man United, because we don't exist, but Man City and Everton. Can you see her making it? Like I said, I know she's been injured, but would it be the time now? Do you think Anna would move, or what do you think?
Yeah, I think she... Actually, if she had been on the pitch last night versus Norway, I don't know if you guys watched this game, but if you look at the players that did play, Sweden had the ball possession. They kind of dominated the ball a lot in that game. If Anna Anvegård had been on the pitch in the same fitness she were when Sweden played Iceland in the Euro qualification this autumn, it would have been a lot of more goals in the game yesterday than it turned out. She's a goal scorer. I mean, she can move in tight spaces. She doesn't have to be. Yeah, I mean, she can score in the box, even with the back towards her goal. Just turn and shoot. So that's my answer to that. I think Sweden-Norway would not have been 1-0 if she had been on the pitch in full fitness.
So do you think she's the kind of player that then... Sorry, Judd, but do you think she's the kind of player that City would definitely go for? Or City are linked with Khadija Shaw, and for me, I think Khadija Shaw is someone who I've watched before the World Cup, during the World Cup, watched her out in France. Khadija is top. And I know she's just young, and I know it's just starting, but people need to watch out for Khadijah. So I'm so upset that she's going to City if she, well, likely. Do you think that she would want to go there? There's Ellen White, and if Khadijah came in, then Anna as well. Or do you think, and then obviously Kelly and Hemp and all that, or do you think she would accept maybe not being in Champions League, but being Man United, number 9, boom, big up in lights? What's your views on Anna in that respect?
Also, two perspectives in this. As a Scandinavian, I can't see any Scandinavian player wanted to go to Manchester City right now because they're not famous for taking care of foreign players. Therefore, I can't see her be the first going there.
Okay.
And add to that, then I'm having a really hard time to even reflect on if she would make a great fit in Manchester City.
Okay.
I think that's Willie Kirk and Everton. They are smart. They recruit Scandinavian talents. I mean, I think we have missed one striker as well, and that's Stine Larsen, who played for Aston Villa this season.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she played the Euros with Denmark back in 2017. Denmark were in the final. And that in that tournament, she had to move to play as a defender because of a lot of injuries that tournament. But Stine Larsen is also, I think she has not been. She did not win on going to Villa because I think people haven't seen the best of her. But also a Danish striker and the Denmark national team, they are a good national team. If you're going to look at Scandinavian players. So it's rumored that she will go to AC Milan. And I think if that's the case, they have done a perfect signing.
Mia, we've gone through a lot of names, so if you can just name maybe just 2 players who we spoke about tonight, who is the most likely, not definitely going to come, but who is the most likely to come to WSL or ideally Man United? Which 2 players would you kind of say that we need to look out for the most over the summer?
I think there will be more players going to the WSL, but if I'm just gonna have 2.
Let's go for Man United.
Hard. Yeah, I'm thinking Vilde Berisa for sure.
Yeah, good.
That or Spain. Yeah, I'm gonna, because of the way the Norwegian media reported about this. But we all know it can be, it could have happened a lot since this article was written. But I can really see her play in the WSL. And I know you have luck because in this case, most of the Norwegian national team players for the women's team is Manchester United fans.
Yeah, okay.
Obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But yeah. I would like to say Frida Manum as well, but I'm not sure I can see her in. This is also kind of strange to say. I know she's a huge Manchester United fan as well. So,
everyone's welcome.
Yeah, so I can't see her play for any other team in the WSL than Manchester United, and she's like she has developed a lot, and she's captain in Linköping right now, and I can see her. She's growing and glowing. I saw her play yesterday for Norway, and she's very secure in herself right now. But I would like to throw in Natalie Björn as well, because I know they've been saying that they want to go to Spain and that's an exciting league and stuff like that. But what I do think is that working with communication, England do the right thing. I think they want to go there because the Euros will be played there next year.
Big. Come to the best fans. Borisa, Manum, Natalie, everyone, come. You're all welcome. Anyway, but one question I just want to say about Manum, and I know I'm saying Frida. I know I'm saying her name wrong, but I know you're a big fan of Hansen, Kirsty Hansen. She signed a new deal, and she's very good. And you talk about a gazelle. This is the kind of player that Manum is, and I think Hansen is a bit of a gazelle as well, fast running, and all this, and strong. And I'm not saying let's compare, but do you think that's the kind of player, and do you think that would add competition between them both? What would you think?
Yeah, I would say so. But also, we have been. It's an analysis that has started to analysis, for doing analysis for Linköping, and then we just looked at, like Frida Manum. She's very good just outside the box. If she takes a shot, then it's going to be dangerous, because she doesn't shoot with power. She shoots with her brain. You can see how she's well aware of where she's gonna place the ball, and that's where I kind of miss in the WSL, because often it's also, you see, obviously I'm a big fan of Pernille Harder, but you can see when she shoots, it's not only power behind it, it's smartness. She sees where the goalkeeper is and stuff like that. So and that's kind of like how Frida is as well. The shots rarely hard, but always dangerous, and she scores from outside the box as well. So
that's what we need. We need more of that. So yeah, I'm on that.
The last topic, here, obviously we've got about 5 to 10 minutes to go. We have mentioned this throughout the show. And we mentioned it yesterday as well about the new Homegrown rule, where basically every club or team needs to have at least 8 players who have played in England or the UK for 3 years under the age of 21. Now, me and Natalie, we're okay as Man United fans because we've got quite a few, so we can afford to go abroad and still bring some international talent in. But what about the likes of Chelsea and maybe some of the other clubs? Do you think that will kind of influence their transfer window this summer?
Yeah, I support Chelsea, but Natalie, that I always look at.
Everyone.
I like to dive in, to analyze what's the deal with this, and I think Chelsea will have a hard time next season if they don't get rid of other Scandinavian or non-English players, because Chelsea needs to strengthen their defense if they're gonna reach another Champions League final. They will have to do that, and I think they are aware of it. But if they don't, if they're not able to, with this new rule and with the players they have, then it's going to be hard for them next season, both in the league and in the Champions League.
Yeah, I just hope you don't mind me, John. But yeah, Emma Saunders from the BBC, she sort of made reference that people might bring in people and sit on the bench, and just instead of it actually doing the job that it's supposed to, it'll just turn into a sort of tick box. Well, we got them in our squad, but they never play. And it's something that I talk a lot about. I've talked about it all week, haven't I, really, John? That's what I'm worried about LJ about. I know it's probably, she's homesick, this and that, wants to go to London, but, it'll be good for them, as in commercial, brother and sister, England, but where does she go? And it doesn't look like, well, we've heard stuff that Beth England doesn't want to leave, and Beth England will probably need to keep anyway with this rule. I just want to throw one name, because LJ, we talked about it a lot, but one name, and you said that they might have to but they might have to let players go to bring in more English players to make sure they have this rule. Guru, Brighton. Mm-hmm. That would, if United managed something like that, that's it. Well done. I'd praise them to the high heels. I'm not saying, I know you probably don't know. I mean, was she playing last night? I did watch it, but I was in and out of it, and it was.
This is interesting because she turned. She wasn't even in the squad. She didn't want to participate this international break. She wanted to be left out.
Let's go!
Yeah.
No, I don't know. I'm not saying that, but that's a name, and I think if that would make loads of United. Like if Manchester United just did that, it would make a lot of Man United fans happy, and then we would feel like, right, we're doing something, you know. I think also the other names that you said, people might not know, but I think they would eventually get to know. Like it's a name that's going along the bottom. Honor, a lot of people didn't know.
Time to start to watch the Damallsvenskan and watch all Rosengård's games. To watch Natalie Björn and Hanna Bennison.
And you know what, Mia? If we can do it, if I can watch Spanish League and you can watch English League, and I could watch Sweden the other day, Manchester United have so much money, they can easily go and watch it. Doesn't mean you have to be out in the stadium. Buy a VPN and watch it online, you know?
Yeah, I think it's, I mean, like with Chelsea, they have so much talent, and you can't separate the talent from each other in the front. I mean, Lauren James, I think she could be a starter in Chelsea as well, because she's proven to be a good player in the WSL, and that's enough. But when you have reached a level that Chelsea are talking about to winning the Champions League, that's why you bring in players like Pernille Harder. She wasn't brought in or bought for that kind of money to win the league. They already had players that can do that. But she was brought in to win the Champions League, and in the Champions League final, she played a little bit of different role than she had played in the league. Like, she was told to, win this for us now. Prove that you were worth the money we paid, and I think that's Chelsea's problem right now.
We've come to the end of the show. I think it's been a really educational show. I think a lot of people will watch this and really get hyped over it. I think hopefully now we might even just get a few people watching a bit more leagues out there as well. I'm definitely excited to start listening and watching a few of those names that you've definitely mentioned. So yeah, we are going to shoot off. Mia, if anybody wants to follow you on Twitter, do you know what your handle is?
Yeah, it's Mia_Eriksson, just the way Magdalena Eriksson spell her last name.
Excellent. It's going to be on our Twitter page anyway, so if you can't find it, just have a look on the All for United WFC Twitter page. Thank you to everybody in the comments as well. Natalie, if anybody wants to find you, how can they go about doing that?
Natalie_17, get on it, definitely.
Absolutely. Thank you very much, Mia, for coming on. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
The first time I've spoken to you, and it's been amazing. So thank you very much, Mia. Thank you to everybody in the comments. And Natalie, see you on Monday. See you guys.